Hello, everyone, and you're very welcome to this Thursday night edition of the Man United Agenda. This topic is going to get a Monday Juma going. He's going to be throwing jabs left, right, and centre because his boy Harry Maguire is on front and centre on our thumbnail as possibly being one of the worst post Fergie era signings. So stay with us for the fireworks. Apologies. We're having some intro technical difficulties.
I'm dancing, so it's cool.
Thanks very much for the assist on Monday. I know I've been starting out by slating your guy, but it looks like karma came back and bit me firmly in the slab head.
Damn right there, Rebel. You're damn right. I didn't realise I was getting set up tonight with this the theme. I thought about it, and it's going to be an interesting show. Obviously, as Man United fans, we've all got our own opinions about what we feel has happened over the last 10 years. It's been a really miserable ride for a decade, But things are looking up for Man United, and maybe in the future we'll be talking about the greatest signings of the last 2-3 years.
Yes, indeed. CALLULA, I'm sure you're excited to be going through this now. Maybe it might turn out that Maguire won't be in the final list, but how do you feel about discussing, I suppose, the money wasted over the last 10 or so years?
We've wasted a lot of money, but there's so many more people to talk about with Maguire. I'll be honest with you, Maguire, I'm not going to say Maguire hasn't, even looking at some of the last games, the long passing and the energy that he's given, especially after the World Cup. And, I don't think he was a bad signing, but then when we go into the show, I've got some bad signings here.
Mm-hmm. And Colm, I know you're going to go full two-footed into any player because you do not hold back when we're on FTSN. So I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say as well.
Yeah, no player is safe from me today at all. I have many names that I'm going to shoot at. So hopefully they're not going to be watching. Otherwise they're going to get very upset with me.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Now, before we do move on, I do want to say thank you very much to everyone that is joining us here in the Man United Agenda. We will be releasing a very special commemorative show in the next couple of days in regards to the Munich air disaster. And to view that, you do need to be part of our greater Man United Agenda family membership package. Please do check it out if you are interested in doing so. We will also have a short video that will be coming out to complement this release. So do keep an eye out for that. And of course, as always, please do give us a like, a share, and a subscribe. We do appreciate it. And Monday, do you want to just dip in and say hello to a few people before we get into the nitty-gritty?
Of course, most certainly. And I hope you guys will enjoy this show and contribute to it, because you might throw up a few ideas for us as well, because it's got my 5. But I'm still not sure. Eddie Football Waffle is saying big up Man United Agenda to all in the chat. Maguire was number 1 worst signing on his valuation in recent years. Hit the like, everyone. Big up to Matthew Bassett as well. Bart's talking in French. I don't understand a word of that. No. Edward's French is here. There you go. The irony of that coming next, Edward. French. Zoe Media House saying good evening. All interested to hear what Zoe would say about this. Could be a top 20. Says Box. Angel Di Maria. We're going to get into that. Bill Baggio is saying Alexis Sanchez. There's a few names here. Depay, Morgan, sliding in, or whatever his name was. Paul Pogba, Valdez. They're all throwing him in. Alexis Sanchez. Healthy tonight there, Matt, because Matt's talking about food again. And can't stand. Anyway, let's just get on with this. I don't want to read that comment there from Bill. Keep it nice. Keep it neat, Bill. Yeah, thank you.
Rebel, you're muted. There we go.
My, it's just as well because I was talking ill of Harry Maguire, so it's all good. It's not on the airwaves, so I can get away with saying whatever I wanted. But it does mean that we do need to kick off the ball and put some names on the table. We are going to come up with who the Man United agenda believes have been the 5 worst post-Fergie era signings. And I'm going to throw one out on the table for your consideration straight away. Despite his resurgence at Fulham, pre-season Pirlo never, ever done anything for Man United. So I'm throwing for your consideration Andres Pereira.
Are we talking about this? All right, yeah, let's talk about Pereira then. First of all, I look at the price, I look at the value for money, and I look at some reasoning. This is how I'm going to assess everything here. Price for him was cheap. I think he came through the ranks, didn't he? So it's not an issue about the price. Value for money, no issue about the price. Now, reasoning, I want to hear from you because I thought he's a good player. He's still playing in the Premier League. Just unfortunately, he's a tier below what we expect of Manchester United. But he's doing really well at Fulham. Fulham are blowing up. Is he the catalyst to them playing good football? Who knows? So that's still to be decided. I think he needs further assessment later on. But I think he's a good player. He's gone out on loan. Didn't work for him. Obviously, pre-season, he was fantastic. But it could never cement a place. I'm saying cement in front of CALLULA. He could never cement a place in the side. So I would dismiss him. I would say he's a good player. He's still playing high-level football. And you only have to look at Fulham for that.
I want to step in and say I completely agree with Monday. I feel like he was cheap as chips. It was good for us. It's not like that he's gone to a team where he hasn't been able to develop. I wouldn't put him down as maybe he didn't do what we wanted him to do, but I fully agree that this isn't someone that I would put in the worst signings when there's so many other people that I'm just going, hey ho. So but I see what you're saying. He didn't give us what we wanted, but you know, he's young enough to still give us, and at least he's in a Premiership team where he can develop, and that's what we want. We put people on loan. The risk is sometimes when you loan players that you loan them to teams where they're not going to develop to come back. So at least he's in a position where he can, and there's still possibilities.
Thank you very much. Colin, over to you.
You know what? I've got to completely agree with these guys. He's a fantastic player. Yes, okay, we all joked about the fact he's called pre-season Pirlo. But like it's been said, you got to look what he's doing this season. You know, I don't think he is one of the worst signings we've ever made. I just didn't think he fit the system and the style of play that we were asking of him. We've seen him absolutely flourish at Fulham. And every single time I've seen him play, he seems to be improving more and more each game. So he's definitely not on the list for me.
And there we have the last bit of agreement that I hope to see for the remainder of this show. Putting his name out there has done what I'd hoped. And now I want some nitty-gritty, raw division and fighting. On Monday, let's get some of your list out there and let's have a debate on it.
Okay, so obviously, here's my criteria: the price, value for money, and my reasoning as well. Just to throw these names out, I've got a top 5 good players that I felt we've signed over the last years. Not all doom and gloom, but I'm going to just go through this now. I've got Morgan Schneiderlin. Now we spent 31 million on him, and he was supposed to come in and secure our midfield. Based on his form at Southampton, mind you, this is the guy. Remember, Southampton came up through the leagues, so he was signed for Southampton when they were in the Championship or maybe even lower division than that. So he's come up with them. And so obviously he was playing well in those divisions. And then he came up to the Premiership, had a couple of good seasons for Southampton. But how can you gauge paying 30 million for him at a time? Because he wasn't used. So one thing is clear when we're talking about this, the decision-making has been poor. Scouting has been poor. And you've got to say, how was this guy utilised? Now, he came in, didn't play well from the start, maybe didn't have the confidence, so someone hasn't looked at his character, whether he's got big kahunas or whatever, but he wasn't quite ready for that step up. And since then, his career's gone downhill. When you've been at Man United, it's good on your CV, but since then, where is he now? Does anybody know? Hello, Morgan, where are you? No one knows. So I think he's been a failure. That was a terrible signing for £31 million. If someone's playing in the Premiership, analyse him, assess him, make sure he's good enough to come in. Make sure, don't just sign him because, all right, he looks good and Southampton produce good players. I don't agree with that. I think your pre-season Prelo is a better player than him, even though they're slightly different in the midfield role. So he was supposed to be that guy to lock it down, to be play as a sort of holding player in a way, put the tackles into interceptions and that kind of thing. He has got that in his game, but we're talking about a top-tier club in Man United. And I thought it was a poor decision-making to sign him, poor value for money, and that's my reasoning, because he never produced it, we never used him, and we ended up selling cheap to Everton. So that was a whack signing for me, and that's why he's on my list.
Just by way of contrast, he's currently with Western Sydney. That's a loan from OG Nice. And he was bought for 35, but he was actually sold for 23. So the actual net loss wasn't as gargantuan as expected. But any objections to Schneiderlin being on the list from the other panelists?
Nope.
Okay, so unfortunately...
I'm very sorry, Rebel, but if I could pluck something from the ether to make it a reason, I can't. That's a box standard. No, he should. That's it. So I'm so sorry.
On Monday, I think you're going to get away with putting up your next man on the block because there's nobody disagreeing with you.
What, you want me to go again?
Yeah.
All right. My second one, because obviously there's some sort of guys there that are obvious. But my second one, after a lot of thought, is Rojo. Is that how you pronounce the name in Italian?
Marcus Rocco.
Rocco, yeah.
Centre back, stroke left back. Now, when he played in the World Cup and he played really well, he's playing left back, and he come to the club, and we couldn't decide whether was he a left back or was he a centre back. And this is a guy we spent 15 million on, so the value for money, it's not that pricey. The price wasn't too much. And then, so you're saying, okay, the price wasn't that much. There's a bit of a gamble. He played in the World Cup. He plays Argentine international. What's not to like? But he didn't secure a position. Whether he was at left back, he wasn't comfortable there, and definitely at centre back, I've seen he got moved up many a time. And this is a guy where I'm thinking, when are we going to let this guy go? Because he's never going to secure a place. You can't imagine he's going to be like a Pallister Bruce partnership, Stam Johnson, Rio Ferdinand Vidic. Forget about it. This guy clearly wasn't good enough. So for 15 million, I don't think it's value for money based on him being not a very good player at the highest level at Man United, and didn't secure his place, didn't cement his place. I keep saying cement for you, CALLULA, but did not cement his place and did not show anything, no desire, I believe, to really sort of, while he's at the club, to try to do something big. Granted, he was good on the ball, I imagine, had a decent left foot, but when he was a left back, he couldn't raid. He was too heavy, I think, to get up and down. Couldn't win headers, I believe. Too small, too weak physically. Wasn't the quickest. What was his best attribute? No one knows. So he's on my list. Not value for money, based on 15 million. You might think that's cheap, and that's my reason as well. Not a very good player. I can't imagine him getting into a championship side based on what he showed us at Man United.
Any objections?
With Rojo, I do object a little bit because I don't feel like we saw his talent because he just didn't fit in. So part of me felt like we weren't the team for him, if that makes sense. So I want to give him kind of a feel for him, because I feel like I know there's something in you that could do better, but it wasn't with us. So signing, yes, I will agree it's a bad signing, but I'm not going to say he's a bad player. Because I do think that there was something about him that just didn't work with us. And I think, as I say, positioning was a major issue with him. And comfortability. You know, you can see someone's really awkward. All I saw was awkward. I didn't see someone get the synergy with the team. And as I say, bad signing for us, but bad player. You're right. We need to see what was he good at, because he didn't show us here, but hopefully he shows us in the future.
Colum, any objections?
Marcus Rojo. Oh, Marcus Rojo. The player of many positions, the master of absolutely none of them. What were he? Centre-back, left-back, left midfield? They're the positions he could play. Well, apparently he could play. He couldn't play any of them, to be honest with you. Were absolutely atrocious. You can look at throughout his whole career, he's not been very good at all throughout his whole career. in my opinion, honestly, why did we even waste the money? Why did we waste the money on him? He didn't offer anything to United. He didn't improve us at all. So, yeah, he's definitely got to be on the list. I'm siding with OMONDI on this one. He's got to be on the list. A complete waste.
Okay. So, CALLULA, we're going to move to you now. You're going to put the next two players on the block.
Oh, okay. Do I give them both at the same time or do one at a time?
You can go one at a time and give your reasons why.
Okay, Pogba. There we go. My first player is Pogba. And no matter how good he could be for one match out of 10, can I have Pogba and his agent? Can I put them both together? Because the drama llama from his agent, at least put them both together with the justice and doom of both of them. Pogba, and I'll stress to guys, it's not because of his hair. Because I know he used to love changing his hair colour all the time. It's not because of the hair. It's because Pogba was kind of like, I'm going to be good for one game. But his percentage of play, for me, he should have been better with how much he thought he was worth. I don't think that he cared enough to be a part of the team. I really think he should have lassoed his manager because the drama with that just didn't help anything at all. Maybe I'm biased. I wanted more from Pogba, and I feel like that he caused more issues than. Okay, obviously he didn't cause more issues than Ronaldo, but he caused more issues than I would like. He's given us some good moments, so I don't want to go pure hate on Pogba, but I will say for us, I don't think we should have signed him. Pogba would have been better at Chelsea.
Okay.
Yeah, because he's a prima donna. So give him to Chelsea.
Any objections to Pogba being on the bill?
Colin?
See, Pogba was a difficult one for me because when he actually turned up, he was one of the best players on the pitch by far. You know, there weren't anybody that was even close to him when he actually turned up. But the thing that annoyed me with Pogba is he didn't turn up enough. You know, the amount of times we've seen him in one game, you know, busting a gut to track back and try and get the ball, and then the next game, like walking, not interested, probably deciding what hairstyle he's going to have next week. You know, all these kind of things. So it's a really difficult one. I won't put him on the list just because of the talent that he has and how much an effect he did have for United when he was on his game. So I'm not going to put him on the list, in my opinion, just because of that.
Yeah, I totally agree. He's not on my list. Pogba is a world-class footballer. It's just he came to a club that was in the mud, in a mess. We need to manage players like that. He's come there playing at Juve, playing really well, getting far in the Champions League around good players and around a good system as well. Well managed, disciplined. No issues there about tracking back or negativity with teammates or anything like that. No issues with the fans. They liked him. He comes to Manchester United in the peak of his career for big money. So you talk about value for money. The price was, what is it now? What's the price? Close to 100 million maybe. Massive price tag, but a world-class player. I believe that. It's just that the club was in ruins. Sorry, a few doggy things going on here. It's a bit of a crazy house at the moment. But yeah, the club was in ruins. We didn't manage him correctly. You want to get the best out of a world-class player, you got to make him feel welcome, make him feel wanted, and the fans didn't help with that at all. Anything he's done wrong, his haircut, the media, look at the media with Graham Souness and all that kind of thing. These things don't help, in my opinion. We didn't get the best out of him. That's our mistake. Nothing to do with Pogba.
No,
Pogba's still a great player, in my opinion. Look at him. He won the World Cup while he was playing for Manchester United. Did you see his team talk in the change rooms? He's a leader. And that's the thing. I cannot take it. It used to drive me crazy. And there's an underlying current here of prejudice towards him, I believe. Unfair prejudice towards certain players like that. Like Lukaku and Pogba, when they're very good players. And I just think the fans get on their back for their own prejudiced reasons. I thought it was a great player for us.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Monday, but I don't like a guy that doesn't turn up to do his job every day. That was my main problem with Pogba. And don't talk about social media like Pogba was the only one that got the jazz. Loads of players got the jazz when they do things wrong. Look at the World Cup, what happened to Saka, Rashford, and all those guys. Don't say that Pogba had special treatment. Pogba did it to himself sometimes. Pogba should have concentrated on the pitch.
Let's have a discussion.
No. Pogba should have concentrated more on the pitch than on social media, and he's not special. And I think with Pogba, yes, he's a talented person. I'm not going to take away his talent, but there's no special treatment. And Pogba made some of the drama himself, and he did.
All right, so you're saying, so I want to hear evidence for why you're saying he didn't. What didn't he work hard enough? Didn't he put it in?
I don't believe that Pogba would go one game and be on point, and the next game he'd give the ball away the whole time. His consistency was not on point.
I think what we did when we started managing correctly, we started playing him left midfield.
But then you can say that about every member of the team.
Or left inside forwards. I'm playing him at 2 with that responsibility, with the type of player he is. I think as a manager and as a club, we need to get the best out of someone. We have to realise, okay, maybe this ain't the role for him. If you remember under Alex Ferguson, who we don't dispute is a good manager.
This is since Ferguson retired. And what I'm saying
if you remember, my point is, if you remember Alex Ferguson, his issues with Pogba was giving the ball away because he was playing in the centre midfield. When he went to Juve, he started playing in a more
but why does Pogba get special treatment?
And he had less responsibility like that. So I think we need to manage the player. We failed to manage him correctly to get the best out of him. That's the fault of Manchester United Football Club. I don't think it's fault of Pogba, the football player.
But we have to talk about the fact that we didn't have a manager doing that. And I'm really sorry to say, Pogba is not special. That means that, unfortunately, all those other players that did their job, why couldn't Pogba do it? So I'm not going to take special treatment on this. I'm just going to say that, yes, we need better management. But if the manager wasn't there, you got to still do your job.
I think as a manager and a coach, you've got to push people's buttons to get the best out of players.
But then you need to talk to all the ex-managers and coaches.
Yeah, so I think as a club, I'm not going to put him as a worst signing. I think it's a good signing. I think he's a good player. He won us a trophy. He got second in the league, third a couple of times. But to put all that weight on him, the weight of the whole club on his shoulders, just because he costs so much money, I think is a failure because the club or the fans are not recognising that we didn't get the best out of him. We could have been, if he would have been at Man City, you would have seen the best of him. They would have known the best how to get the best out of his play.
We're gonna have to
mind you, he's not going to be that responsible player in midfield too. The way he likes to play, that's his style. You know, I think he should be like a Vieira with his physical attributes, the way he plays. But he hasn't got that. Maybe you could train that into him. Who knows? That could have been done a long time ago to make him a more disciplined player because he's got all the ability to be like a Vieira, a holding guy, just bringing the ball out. But he likes to do little things. And when his good things, the good side of his game is excellent. We've seen it at the highest level. Yeah. So if your question is consistency, I can kind of go with that. But I also, what the big elephant in the room is, Man United Football Club failed to manage a great talent.
And I agree with you on that.
Veron.
I agree with you on that. If the club failed, but the club signed him and didn't do the job in which they needed to do. So that's why he's on mine. I'd say agree to disagree, but if I have an air fryer, I want it to work 100%. I don't want it to work 60% because I'm not going to eat. And that's why with that amount of money, I wanted more. But that's me, you know. It doesn't mean anyone has to agree, even in chat. You don't have to agree.
No, it's good. I think it's a good debate. I mean, you dropped some things on me, and I did concede. I think if you talk about consistency, I did agree with that. But then I'm added another factor, which would be the club didn't manage him too well. And I think if we would have had a proper manager who knew the direction they wanted to play him in from the start and gave him a better role in the club, I think we might have seen the better play out of him. Column and Rebel, this is a big talking point.
Yes.
What do you guys think?
I was going to say I'm going to have to call you to order because we are approaching half time in this debate and there is quite a number of comments that need to be addressed. So to the 22 wonderful people that are in the chat, please do give us a like, share and subscribe. I did move CALLULA over just so they could fight naturally above and below each other like noisy neighbours.
But Monday no matter what.
Monday, will you hit some comments for me, please?
Yes, most certainly. So obviously I've missed a few. So hopefully, guys, if I missed you, I do apologise. I'm just going back in time. Maguire says Ronick, price and lack of pace. Schneiderlin was a flop as well, he's saying there. Not many mentions for Slabhead. We haven't finished the show yet. I'm sure there might be something. Robbie Norman saying Sanchez, Di Maria, Lukaku, Donny van der Beek, and Tellez as well. Rohu up there for me, as anytime he started, I feared he would be sent off. He's a lunatic, he's saying here. If I hear Fred mentioned, said Edward, I want that person banned. Zoe Media House, how you doing? She said the best signing we made after Alex Ferguson was Bastian Schweinsteiger. Not Snyder, sorry. Excuse me, I can't pronounce the name. Loved the guy at Bayern. He came to us a bit too late, arguably one of the greatest. Pogba was a fantastic player when he turned up since Dale Griffiths. We're getting disagreed with Colin. You ready to take on Solo? He's saying, I disagree with Colin and Solo about Rojo. Wasn't a bad player. They just didn't have the right system to suit the team. I don't know about that. Why don't you come on, Solo, and argue that? A couple more here. Sanchez, Di Maria, Depay, and Falco, says DHG Gamer. Zoe saying, sorry, I don't agree with Pogba. He's still very talented. Let's go through. Anyone new here? Anyone? Yeah. So, again, she's saying, surprised no one said Fred. Shows he's actually a great signing for 50 million. Boxer saying Fred is not a great signing. He said he's decent. Couple more. We've got Darmian. Forgot about him from right back. Forgot about him. 16 million and sold for 2. That's not good. Fred is a decent signing. Not only a good footballer, but without Fred, we fans wouldn't be able to take the mickey. He is a joker of the squad. Pogba's not suited to the Premier League, says Box. Stuart Marshall, how you doing? Maybe Ten Hag should give Phil Jones a run out. Couple more. Box here is saying Pogba likes to control games, likes to slow up play, put his foot on the ball. EPL is fast and furious. Stuart Marshall, I had high hopes for Falco. Absolute baller when he came to Man United and looked lost and picked up an injury. He was injured when he arrived, wasn't he? And 15 players worse than Pogba, says Solo. Oh, they're all talking here. Sorry, I can't catch everyone. I want to say hi as well to one of my favorites, Miko. Big up, man. How you doing, bro? And Rich Sports is in the house. He's saying lack of pace, question mark. Modric, Kane, pace overrated in the football. He's saying there. Vincent saying, CALLULA, you could have told me you was on. I would have come in earlier. You got a fan club here. And MUFC, finally one from me, is saying best signing is Bruno Fernandes.
Very interesting comments as always. I am going to give CALLULA a bit of a break because she did have a war of words on Monday. Usually that's my job to stoke up the flames. But Colm, I'm going to let you throw your first one onto the chopping block.
Yep, no problem at all. So my first one is the Brazilian midfielder. No, it's not really. No, my first one, it's actually been mentioned in a comment, and that is Radamel Falcao. He was a prolific striker, back in his day, one of the best strikers in the world, came to United and basically did nothing. 29 games, 4 goals, 5 assists. He had a lot of it. We all know his injury record isn't great as well. He scored some crucial goals, let's say. But, that's why I said, let's say. But for me, it was a complete waste of bringing him in. I don't think he really added anything to the team whatsoever.
Objections?
I've got none.
Yeah, I got objection to that. He was a loan signing, and he was at the time one of the best strikers in the league. In world football, in my opinion. Colombian, came from River Plate, ended up at Porto, then went to Monaco, just scoring goals galore. Atletico Madrid as well. When you see him in his pomp, I can understand why we would have went for him, and a loan deal as well. But when we took him on loan, he was already injured. It's like buying Van Nistelrooy a year prior to that when he was done his cruciate ligament thing. It makes no sense, So that doesn't make any sense to me to get a player like that. Obviously, rehabilitation, get him back in, but then he has to fit in, and he's probably a bit overweight, and he needs more time to get back into full football. And we didn't really have that time. We wanted to see success. We want to see the old Falco. Which wasn't really going to happen with an injury like that. And since then, he's being kind of plagued with injury. But one thing you do know, it's not about pace. You've got to know how to utilize this guy. What was he doing at Monaco, at Porto, at Atletico Madrid? What made him so effective? Obviously, he's a great little striker. I remember putting John Stones on his backside and chipping the ball, chipping Joe Hart in the Champions League. One of the best goals I've seen. Like, God damn, this guy is amazing. So at his best, he was one of the best. I'm in the Super Cup one time, I remember he beat Chelsea up, slapped them about, maybe got a hat-trick like that. Outstanding player. So when you think about it, as Man United, we had Van Persie. He was hot when he was there. We bought other strikers as well, like a bit late with Cavani and Zlatan, that kind of thing. But I didn't see anything wrong with getting Falco in. I just think it didn't work out due to injuries. And I just think that's not his fault. He was injured when we got him. So if you're saying he's a bad signing because we felt that maybe he was injured and we get him on loan and maybe just see how it goes, I can go with that. I don't think that's a bad decision. Too bad for me. It's just that he never was able to sort of get that goal ratio that he had when he was playing elsewhere before that. And since then, he's done okay considering thing based on his own talent. So I think if we would have stayed a bit longer and we used him properly and got the best out of him, we would have seen his talents and he would have been a fan's favourite. But I wouldn't put him on my list, unfortunately. I think Falco's top class player. I understand why we signed him. It was a loan deal as well and value for money. The injury thing. That's why I have to forgive him.
Colin, do you want to stoke the flames a bit more?
No, yeah, Omondi makes a very valid point. Fair enough, I've got on the fact, like you said, very good player. Back in his day, he was a very good player. When we brought him in, he played 118 minutes before we brought him in for Monaco, scoring 2 goals, I believe, in 3 games. And then came to United, got 4 in 26. And then even after he left United, obviously went to Chelsea and had an absolute stinker there as well. Which is why he's on my list, because before we got him, he wasn't performing. To be honest with you, the season we got him, he wasn't performing. Again, it's probably down to injuries. And he didn't really do anything when he came into United either. But again, he's mainly on the list for me because we signed him when he was injured. He couldn't really shake the injuries. He always seemed to be picking up knocks or things like that. So that's why he's on my list anyway.
Okay, so this one seems to be going down without a whimper. Now, seeing as we are having too much agreement, time to go back to the Queen of Destruction, CALLULA.
Oh, I really hope that this... I don't want anyone to disagree with me on this, but if you do, you do. Sanchez. That Sanchez is for me, I was ecstatic when we signed him. I was ecstatic. I looked and I thought, this is someone that's going to come in and he's going to do something. And it was kind of like cold soup. Like, it's like, you get, like, you want to get that order of Chinese, get that chicken and noodle soup, and it was cold. He came to our team and it was just like, okay, you're here. What else? What are you going to do? So for me, he didn't bring what I thought he was going to bring. I know that he's got a fan base. I know people love him, but for me, he was pure disappointment. I have seen in the chat that MUFC has said Lukaku. Now, don't get me wrong, Lukaku, if he could have stayed as a super sub with us and understood his role as the harpoon of justice and doom, then I will shout out with him as well. But with Lukaku, I'm glad he left. But Sanchez is my next one. But I just wanted to give a shout out to Lukaku, who just realised he had a good deal and he fricked it up. But Sanchez, let's go to the board. Who's going to disagree with me?
I wanted to come to the defence of Sanchez in one respect, and that was at the time we had a struggling Mkhitaryan who our manager didn't seem to be able to get the best out of. Sanchez was after coming off the back of a decent season for Arsenal and he was in disagreement with management. So it seemed like all that was needed was to extradite him from Arsenal and give him an atmosphere in which he could perform again. So the logic of the deal at that time made sense. However, if you were to look at it from just if we were shoving money out to him, obviously he would have been a flop then. But we were in a situation where we had someone that wasn't working and we took an opportunity for someone that just seemed like they needed a kick in the hope in order to get back into action.
But we're not a charity, Rebel.
We're not
a charity, and he did not bring it. And I'm sorry he didn't. What I wanted, it's kind of like when you want a PS5 and you order it off Wish and you just get the box. That is literally what happened to me. I'll pass it over to maybe the guy's going to disagree with me on this one.
He's on my list as well. I agree with you, Sanchez. Outstanding at Arsenal. One of their best players over the last decade, no doubt about it. I've always watched him. He came from Udinese, ended up going to Barcelona. I mean, that's the level that we're talking about here. And then he goes to Arsenal Football Club and played a dream there. He wasn't a fit at Barcelona, didn't quite fit in, even though I thought he played well. But obviously at the time, that was a great Barcelona's team. So he comes to Arsenal and he really sort of shone. If you look at his career, his time at Arsenal, I imagine, was the best of his career. He was really one of the best players in the Premier League, in my opinion. at that time when he was playing for them. So I see why we would have gone for him, but we paid him a lot of wages and something about his attitude. Didn't anyone do an attitude check with him? He needs an attitude adjustment because he really took the mickey out of us. And it's like he was on our books for so long, we couldn't get rid of him. Even now he's playing well because he wants to. So there's something about him. He came to Manchester. He didn't like it for some reason. And he decided to, be an a-hole about it. So I would give Sancho, this is what I'm saying about double standards. Don't talk about Pogba when Pogba stayed and really tried to work hard for the club. When you got someone like Sanchez at the club with a bad attitude, that's what you call a bad attitude, guys. Not Pogba, in my opinion. That is the pits of bad attitude and spitting your dummy out and saying, I don't want none of this. So there's standards. If there's Premier League or bad attitude, it would be Sanchez. Maybe Pogba would be like third division or something.
Okay. Colum, because I'm watching the clock and I'm watching the electricity bill that Solo so carefully monitors, I want you to throw your second and final player onto the slab.
Second and final player. Oh, that's an hard one. I am going to put him out there. I was going to go for a goalkeeper, but I decided to go against that. And I'm going to go for Eric Bailly. That's who I'm going for. The man who's made out of glass. That's my biggest issue with him. He had good spells, but he could never physically put himself into that team constantly because of injuries and everything else as well. On top of that, I didn't think he was physical or robust enough to be in the Premier League defence. He seemed to have got beat quite easily, quite a lot of the time as well when I've seen him play. Obviously, I'm hoping that people are going to disagree with me, which is why I kind of gone for him a little bit. I know Kallula's going to disagree with me, so the fire's going to heat back up again. It'd be interesting to see what her thoughts on Eric Bailly is. So, yeah.
Can I just add a second player? If we're going to talk about Eric, I think we need to talk about Harry as well. So I want your rebuttals on both.
What are you doing to me, Rebel? I'll go first so on Monday can chill because right, I disagree. Okay, right. No matter even if I call Harry Maguire cement head, I'm going to tell you something. The long passes and after the World Cup, Harry Maguire's had it. He hasn't had it good, and I'm so glad he's still with our team. I'm not going to say he should still be captain. I think there's other people that might be better off doing that, having a captain ban. But other way, Harry Maguire's a no. He's good for us. And he's the cement. He's the cement. When we need to grow a defense, like when you're a kid, as I say, I always say this, when you go get your little plant pot as a kid and you want to grow, that is Harry Maguire. So leave him alone. Secondly, Bailly, I'm going to go with the same argument that OMONDI went with earlier, which is he came into the team at the wrong time without the good management. I like him. I do. And I think that he had a good personality and I think he was willing to try hard. I just think it was a really bad timing for him. So I'm really sorry to disagree. Like, obviously, I already said what I'm saying, but I just feel like, no, Bailly, I'm the kind of person that would give him a chance because I do feel like he's got it. He just needs more. Like, he needs a manager like Ten Hag just to talk to him. That's my opinion, and I'll pass to on Monday.
Can I have a quick rebuttal? Yeah. So, fair enough. I understand what you're saying there. He came at the wrong time, but we are talking about the worst signings that Manchester United have done since Alex Ferguson has left. So, him coming in at the wrong time makes it a bad signing.
No. I'm just taking the Monday's train on it because he said about management. I'm just taking the train. See you in crew.
All right. Eric Bailly, by whatever you call him. I think he's a good player. He's not on my list as worst signings. There's other people ahead of him, in my opinion. Once again, unfortunate with injuries. That's something, was that detected while he's at Villarreal? I'm not sure. But he's someone who's come in for Villarreal for these 30 million, I think it was. And I thought he's well worth that. For the first season, I was saying, yeah, this guy is decent. He's got it. Very on the ball, he's very composed. You rush him. He likes to sort of turn out of trouble, pop it off, and that kind of thing. Obviously, he's a bit rash, goes to ground a lot, and he's always likely to get a red card based on his game like that. But he's a good defender. I've seen him put his body in you know, in tight situations, playing at the highest level in Champions League against big sides as well. So I just think it's really unfortunate with him with the injury situation that he wasn't able to progress. Going forward. And also, we made him sign another contract, maybe with some promises recently to say, "Oh yeah, we signed another contract, we keep you here." And for what? And he said, I remember his statement saying, "Yeah, I know we've had a bad start, but I really want to prove myself here." And then he wasn't played again. And now he's gone. He's on loan and kicking people and getting 7-game bans and that kind of thing, you know? So I think he's a good player and he wouldn't be on my list as one of the worst signings. I think he's good, very good, and would be he would fit into one of the top teams quite easily, quite comfortably. As a centre back myself, I do like him. And just going to Harry Maguire as well, there's no way Harry Maguire would be in the list. I know you say about 80 million and all this kind of thing, but here we go again. When I was talking about Pogba, there's this things get infectious, don't they? When people start getting on people's back, oh, Pogba's this, he's lazy, he's this, it's just all garbage in my opinion. Same applies to Maguire. People forget a couple seasons ago we got second place and Maguire was the mainstay in our squad. When we got to the final of the Villarreal against Villarreal in that cup, he was missing, and I felt he would have prevented those goals from the free kick that went in. I thought he was a big miss, and he was a big miss to anyone watching the games for that season. I thought he was immense, and winning headers, putting his head in where it hurts, leading the line, tackles. Obviously, we know his weaknesses. There you go. But if you're playing in a system which exposes your weaknesses and have teams running at you all the time because we're out of shape or got players ahead of the ball all the time, then that's going to happen. And he got really exposed on that, based on that alone. So I think Harry Maguire is definitely not one of the worst signings that we've had.
Thanks very much for your intervention there on Monday. Now, we're not going to have time to talk about him, but I am going to throw one more player onto the pyre, so that brings us to round 8, and that is Angel Di Maria. But the question I want to ask you, now obviously we're not going to include Maguire and Bailly in this because they are currently still available to Eric Ten Hag. Of Di Maria, Sanchez, Falcao, Pogba, Rocco, and Schneiderlin, including the injuries, because in fairness, that's when we got Falcao. Which of these players do you think that Eric Ten Hag would have been most keen to work with and could have turned around at Manchester United?
I'll just start with that quickly. Di Maria, for me. Di Maria, the season we bought him, he was at Real Madrid playing really well. He could play in centre midfield and doing a job for them in the centre midfield in a free. And obviously, you know, to this day, he's smashing it at Juve, doing things. In the World Cup, we've seen what he's got. Really talented player, for sure. It's just that attitude again and poor management. He's come to the club. He's gone from a good club and he's come to our club, just like Pogba, and thought, what the hell's going on here? Just like Ronaldo, for example. We can't deny this. The club's been in the mud for a long time. So we might look great from the outside. It's like a swan. When you see a swan going along gracefully sliding along the river, but you don't know underneath all these things going on. You know, they're paddling like a madman below. You know, so it's not so graceful when you get there. So I think it's the same applies for Di Maria. If he was playing under Ten Hag today, Ten Hag would make sure if he's got the right attitude, yeah, you can stay. You'd do a good job. He'd be effective for us. If he didn't, then he'd be shipped out, no doubt about it. But he wouldn't mess around with Ten Hag, that's for sure. He did with the other managers. Just to add, I got Fellaini on my list as well. I thought Fellaini was the wrong sort of player for Manchester United Football Club. He was one of my 5 on my list. I just think that, that's not the way we want to play football. And in tight areas when we're playing Champions League football and we want to keep the ball at the feet, all that kind of thing, and play, you know, when it's really sort of crucial. I don't think he had that ability. I was really surprised by that signing. Granted, yeah, in the Premiership, get him up, you know, push him up for a corner or get him to win headers, whatever. That's BS. That's a one-dimensional player. We need to have more than that as a total midfielder, not Fellaini.
Monday, you did kind of steal the final closing question because I was going to get the 3v to go in reverse from 5 to 1 in what your ranked players were. So, seeing as you started, give us from 5 to 1. We won't have time to go into it, but just give us the list.
All right, I haven't got this in order. I just named 5, but I had Sanchez. Right, I've got Sanchez. I thought that was terrible. The wages, the way he sort of completely dropped. It's not
just the list, Monday, please. We haven't got time.
Okay, so Sanchez, Rojo, Schweinsteiger, Di Maria, and Fellaini.
Okay, Callula.
Right, you're asking me for 5, and my mind's gone blank. I know Sanchez is there. I'm going to say Sanchez. Obviously, disagreement. Pogba. God, I've got to pick more players as well. I feel bad because is it Rojo, I can't say
Rocco.
properly. Rocco, you know, he's there. I'm saying players, but I do understand the situation. Oh God, I've got to pick 2 more. Fellaini, yes, but I loved his hair. I did. I loved it. And I'm actually going to say Lukaku.
Okay.
Even though I love Lukaku, by the way. And if Lukaku, you're watching, I do love you. So don't take it wrong.
Column.
Yeah, Sanchez, Di Maria. I'm obviously putting Falcao in there as well. Bay, and probably the last one, I'm going to probably say Dan James.
Dan James that we made a profit on. Interesting.
Dan James
we
came in
got
and-
some moolah from him.
Yeah, we did, but he didn't really do anything for us, did he?
But gave us moolah.
But ladies and gentlemen, it has been a wonderful conversation, but before we do wrap up, we need to dip into the comments one final time. And I do have one question because Box has mentioned Martin Dubravka, and I do want to ask you, do you think that him spending nearly 6 months in the camp of Manchester United affects the League Cup final?
Interesting that. All right, we're going to go through a few comments. I haven't clicked them all, but I'm just going to start from here. MEFC said Falco was only a loan, just to clarify that. So in agreement with Colin here, H. Gary say, may I put Daniel James in? I'd like to speak to Colin after the show about that. Not sure about that one, but he said, how did we make a profit from Dan James? That's a laughing emoji as well. Saha wasn't signed by Fergie, wasn't he? Falco, Di Maria, and Sanchez. Dan James is a million times better than Alanga, says Zoe Media House. Laughing with Callula, our bad run began the day we signed Sanchez. The bastard jinxed our club. So it's an agreement with you there, Callula. Man City made us sign bad players with Sanchez and Fred. Remember that? They went in for them too. Bit of a hustle. My worst personally is Di Maria, says MEFC. Proper flop, comedy times. Piano Man says HD Gamer here. Sorry, I can't go through all the comments, guys. Totally agree about Bailey in support of him. Or was that about him being on a list, maybe, Zoe Media House? Sanchez like ordering clothes. It says it will arrive 3 days, and you'll still be waiting 2 weeks for them to arrive. We're talking about cement, but he's like running cement, says Miko. Want to say hi to Super Nick, one of my favorites, personal favorites. How you doing? She was a silent watcher until something was said that made her come on, I'm sure. I want to say hi to William as well. Welcome to the Man United Agenda. Evening. He says Di Maria was the worst signing post. He was a snake, basically. Ten Hag has turned water into wine, says Super Nick, but he has limits. No to Slabhead. And Viking Red, remember Viking Red? Haven't seen him for ages. He's talking about Tahibi, the goalkeeper who let the ball run under his leg, under his arm. That was a long time ago. Stuart Marshall saying Maguire actually passed the ball very well, but let's face it, he's far behind our 2 centre backs in Rafa, Varane, and Martinez. Di Maria was a snake. That's all you've got to say about that, says Vincent. Maguire's good value for money. Keeps club captain Bruno's armband warm for just under 10 minutes. And we have an equal agree with baby boy to Dr. Rashley. I want to say hi to Mr. Potus. He said, I don't agree about Pogba. He had a great first couple seasons. Can't be in the same sentence as Di Maria and Maguire. Zoe saying the video of Ashley Young shoving Di Maria into the boards was just as classy. I hate this guy. Big up. Fellaini was okay. Solo just had a shocking afro. Couple more here before we say goodbye. Boxer saying Di Maria downed his tools. Bad attitude. Dried up after New Year. He should have excelled, and he left in the summer on good terms. And just leave it as that. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for the comments. They've been great. Big up to Bear Viking Red, by the way. Big up, man.
Absolutely. To the 19 wonderful people that have joined us for the chat, all your complaints in the comments after coming for the respective panelists that you disagreed with most. I have been the innocent bystander just mediating this conversation. But from us, have a very good night, and remember to check out the commemoration show for the Munich air disaster on a members only section should you be interested. But we'll see you soon.